Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. What do we got up there today? We're looking at the dollar index, which really showed some strength there at the end of last week, and Thursday and Friday. Where you see it's pushed down a little bit again. I don't know. There's this slow underlining theme in the marketplace that's going to be the October surprise. I guess you could say it'll be the September surprise. What they will do is they will lower rates going right into the election, and that is they're running out of opportunity to beat up on the former president. They can't find ways to basically dominate him in any particular way. Mr. Biden just raised almost $30 million at a big fundraiser to try to compete with the $200 million that Mr. Trump generated. So they've labeled him a criminal. He's been convicted of being a felon 34 times, or 34 counts, I think they call it. But they haven't been able to tell us what the crime was. They just say it's a conviction. He's guilty. He's a criminal now. He's an official criminal. 4 out of the 12 jurors declared it that way. Not a unanimous one on any particular thing. Just that's what it is, and that's not working. Mr. Trump turned around and raised another $200 million from it, and then $12 million in dark, heavy blue, Democrat community. $12 million more dollars out in California. So everybody's starting to say, well, the only thing they have left is if they can lower interest rates a 0.25 percentage point before the election, maybe that will help them. And so you can see it in the dollar again. They're trying to. What's the dollar? There's the dollar there. You can see it on the J4X. No, I'm sorry, it's not J4X. It's our beta. And then from there, I missed J4X. And so what else we can say over on our other platform, right there, activate. See the same thing. It doesn't look as bearish. It doesn't. It's like, what? So I mean, remember our beta is a 15 minutes behind, and there is our live, and you can see, it jumped into the buy on Friday, closed in a weekly buy on Friday, and that's the only hope left for Mr. Wonderful, Mr. Biden, or a lot of people here want to call him Mr. Robotic. And so that's the action. We got a weekly buy. We've got this daily buy over here on the beta. Beta's not. Let's see what the beta is showing us on the weekly. Yeah. Okay. So in the beta, which is interesting, and that's why we're very happy with most of it. And we're going to have a new version of it going into over the next couple days. We got it working. The weekly, the daily, all of it's working together. All we're doing now is back testing. We're at the back testing level, and then from there, you'll be seeing that. A little slice of watermelon. You see here for this is going on a second week in a weekly buy. Let's just redo that again there. So it's going on a second week of a weekly buy. You see from back in here, it went into the weekly buy on the beta. And then when we go and look at the, where is it at? Right there. You see the fast jumped up there the previous week, but the slow just missed it. But not on the beta. The beta picked up on it. Right there. You see it jumped into it. Right there. Made it into the buy 2 weeks back, and that's last week, and we'll see next week starting tomorrow on this, and we may be done this platform by tomorrow, and we'll see what the back test shows. And it looks like it should be pretty good. So. Where do we go from here? Let's see. Where do we go from here? Let's take a look at what's going on in the neighborhood. Let's see what's in the news this morning. See if we can line it up with what's going on our algorithms. See if we can cross-match it. There is Elon Musk slams extinctionist movement who sees humans as a plague. Well, since Mr. that's a unique statement. All right. Because of that, let's go take a look at the. Let's see, where is it at? Let's go take a look at the Tesla stock. I noted a lot of good things have happened to him in the last 72 hours. In other words, the last 3 or 4 days. So let's take a look at it right here and see what that looks like. And so we got to move it over. Okay, so right there. There it comes. It's back in filling. There we are. And let's see what the Tesla stock looks like. Right there. Well, Tesla stock went into the sell on Friday. Okay. So we'll go like that. But we went into the weekly last week, so it's a neutral. So it's a buying opportunity at the moment. And then that's today, and it's got the high, low, and everything except for the trading because it's pre-market. So it's kind of like a little goofy. Let's see if we can fix that. But the Tesla stock is just, see there, it's in the pre-market. How about if we hit default? Let's see what that does. Oh, that's even worse. All right. Well, this high doesn't exist. This open doesn't exist. The close is the only thing that's live and accurate. It closed on Friday at 78.01. It's trading today at almost 77, so it's down $1. We'll see. It's pre-market. It's thin. One thing is for sure, you can see our weekly closed in a weekly buy last week, and that's it right there. And so if we do this, let's see what it does when we put that in there. I'll show you what the weekly looks like. And we'll go like that. No, not reflecting. Interesting. Doesn't want to reflect the weekly yet. Interesting. Unless that's it. Is that it? No, that's it. It's where it went into the weekly buy, like right there. And then it closed there. That's Friday's close. We're not seeing anything yet for the new. But I'm sure it's doing fine because this is barely moving at this point. I guess it doesn't want to update it until we get the real numbers out of the the NASDAQ. All right, let's go over to some more news. Let's see what else is going on there. And then we'll move over to the currencies a little bit. Just to give a rundown since it's Monday and not many people are participating and no one's saying like, hey, I want to see this, that, or the other thing. Hey, Robin, how you doing? How you doing, huh? Hey, yo. Futures flat as European stocks stabilize. Good. Vietnam hit by widespread internet disruption after undersea cable failure. Ooh. Overbought SPX, that's the S&P 500, or misleading. What other nice little stories are out there today? How does crypto perform in an inflationary recession? Good question. I've been a little confused on, let's go to the beta for a second here. I've been a little confused about the action in the Bitcoin itself has looked a lot better right there. There's the Bitcoin. But it's still reflecting the same thing. It's trying to go into the sell now last week. We'll see how that is tomorrow. It'll show us how it closed. But it's been in a weekly buy, and I thought that was very curious. We've been pretty much over the last 2 weeks, we went into a daily sell right here. Can you see that? Yeah, right there. We went to the daily sell right there. And it's been a real slide down. You're looking at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days out of the last 11 have been in a sell. That was curious there. You can see it even try to jump up there. And it's been in that buy since the close of a week ago. So last week, it's projecting it's going to go into the sell. Now, we follow it through two things. We follow it through the Bitcoin ETF, like a stock, and we follow it through the actual Bitcoin. And I like looking at this much better. It seems to be much more accurate. You know, it goes into a daily buy and you get that wonderful run. You go into a daily sell, you take some profits, and you go back into a daily buy again right there, and you catch another little, maybe $600-700, $800. Not bad. Goes into a sell again. You're just not in there until it goes into the buy, which was right here. See that right there? Right there. Goes back into the buy again, and it takes off again. So I'm really happy with the way our beta has followed this product. And so that's an interesting headline to try to understand how inflation affects the cryptos. Now, I would think that, just off the top of my head, I would think that the inflation, or the transitory inflation, or however you want to describe it, would be less of an effect on it, really. I would think that they're just taking profits. You're at all-time highs, and if you don't take profits at all-time highs, when are you going to take profits? Also, you have to think, Mr. Trump is polling really big against Mr. Biden. And the only thing that has everybody concerned is the way they've harvested votes for the last couple of years, or stolen votes, however you want to describe it. And they're worried that they'll do it again. But the thing this time around is that the Republicans, and now Mr. Trump's party, has declared that they're going to do it too. So there's 50% less out there to be harvested now, because they're going to be out there harvesting with them. So that's, to me, I look at it that way, and I think, well, what's the chances of them really doing what they did last time? I say very slim. Not counting the fact that Mr. Robotic, our president right now, has turned off so many people in so many ways. They showed a video of Mr. Biden on the stage again with Mr. Obama in Hollywood last week, where they raised the $30 million, and it seemed like he got lost again. He just like zoned out. He was just staring. Everybody else was walking off the stage. He was just standing there. He's the president of the United States. He can stare wherever he wants. But I guess it was over with and people were leaving, and he's standing there. Now, they put a report out, or they put out a statement saying he was just enjoying looking at the audience. But Mr. Obama had to walk over to him and escort him off the stage, or he would have just stood there. So I guess I'm more worried about the fact that he might walk off the stage, try to follow the crowd. That would be even worse. He'd fall like 10 feet. So that is not going to help him get votes. Let's put it that way. This is definitely not the way to get votes. Well, fine. Excellent. Seeing that. You're fine, too. I was out there in the field just trying to pick some stuff and get some stuff moving around. Double checking my electromagnetic field again that wraps around my field to protect from the animals, which will give them a shock. All right. What else we got going on here? But I really thought that the cryptos were a very interesting thing. Is that I think the cryptos are trying to tell us that Mr. Trump is going to win, because they're not reaching for them, so they're not paranoid. Ha 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 ha. Okay. All right. From there, where do we go from there? We go to there's that same picture every day. The president of France. And is that the president of France? I thought it was. Maybe not. Yeah. So poor president of France is having his issues about declaring an election. That'll be very fascinating. All right. Well, that seems to be a good run on the news of what's going on. I don't see any more financial news. Let's see. Military draft. I don't see anything else jumping out at this point. Yeah, I don't see any other news. All right, what we'll do is we'll jump back to the currencies. Let's see what the currencies are up to. Let's see how. That's a South African rand. Oh, there's some news on that. When we get to there, I'll be able to explain it to you. But Zuma, the I guess the one that's former president of South Africa, is living in exile right now. His political party, which won 15% of the vote, has joined the unity government. And he calls it the Unholy Alliance. But I think he's wanted for about 5 or 6 murders. He himself has actually pulled the trigger. They have it on video. And so he's living outside the country right now. And I guess if they could take over the government, then he could come back and they'll pardon him. There's the euro. Pretty much unchanged, 3 days in a sell. You see we closed in a weekly sell. Yes, a weekly sell last week. Right there. I put that line in there now. You can see that. So you're seeing some pressure on the euro. I'm not... You would think... I would think... I don't know about what you would think, but I know what I would think. And I would think that if the European Union, the Parliament now is becoming conservative and center-right, I would think that that would mean less inflation, lower energy. We've already seen what happened with the energy price in Europe. Let's take a look at it again this morning. They took 20% out of it right off with that election. So in other words, it's 20% cheaper to buy energy in Europe. There it is right there on the beta. Oh, they're dropping it again. Okay. See that right there? They're dropping it again right there. And so then over here on the euro, I'm a little surprised that, you can see it's unchanged to up a little bit by a tick or two. But it's in a sell, and it's in a weekly sell, which is surprising because you would think maybe it'll do this. Maybe it won't even take out that low, and it'll start to bounce. We'll get back into a buy, and the weekly will slowly turn back up again. That could be a possibility, especially when we look at the cable. You see the cable here is in a sell for, let's steal this line right there. It's 2 days it's in a sell now, right there. And you can see it's flirting with the weekly sell today. Where's that little circly thing? It's around here somewhere. There it is. Yeah, there it is right there. So you can see they're putting a little pressure on it this morning. And I get, you would think that if they really are going to lower, if they're really going to try to have the October surprise in the election be a lower interest rate, then they'll have to do it in September. And so you would think that, just another month goes by, like the July numbers and then the August numbers, and then they'll justify them cutting it in their heads. A lot of people say they shouldn't cut it for like another year, but they need to do something to help Mr. Robotic or Mr. Biden, whichever we want to call him. Try to give him something because no one takes him serious now what they've done to Mr. Trump. So. And again, look at that. There's the energy prices in Europe since we can do this. Go like this. Not there. All right, let's try this mouse. There we go. That's the picture. It was cruising along, and then boom. Look at that, boom. Comes down from the 25, we're heading for the 20. That's over a 20% drop. That says a lot. It's like, whoa. When responsible politicians get into power, you're going to see less inflation and, less energy costs. And that is going to be very, very positive for Europe as far as I can tell. So, you would think that the euro, people would be saying, I think I want to buy the euro. I'd imagine if we see either of those products, the cable get back, it's underneath there for the moment. But if it starts to firm up, we get into a daily buy. Woof. They may pop that puppy. And the same thing with the euro. On the upside. All right, let's go back to the algorithms and let's look at, let's see, from there. Oh, excuse me. Let's go to the inflation fighter. Yeah, there's the little pop I'm talking about, possibly right there. Let's take a look at the Swiss, the inflation fighters. It's already rallying. The Swiss last we saw right there. All right, they're taking a little bit out of it today, but it's still in the sell by a little teeny inch. You can see the weekly. So in other words, compared to the other two products, the euro and the cable, when this is going down, it's gaining against the dollar. Whereas when we look at Mr. Euro, right there, when this is going down, it's losing against the dollar. Okay? Same thing there. Just to remind you. And traders, if you have any questions, fire away. We'll always deviate and go right to whatever catches your curiosity. All right. Back to the inflation fighters. Right there. So in other words, they went into the sell back up in here, and it's been gaining against the dollar since. It's had some bounces, of course, a little noise on the daily basis, but it stayed in the weekly. Not even the fast joined in. Now you can see there's a nice curve there with the fast starting this week, but it may just bang against that and just go sideways at this point. Especially if this can drop, say, into the 88s, 88.90, something like that, 88.70. But right now, Switzerland is definitely working at pushing the inflation down, and it's doing a fine job about it. And it's not saying whimsical things like our Secretary of Treasury does or our Chairman of the Federal Reserve does. They say some things that really are like, what? Are you crazy? Of course we know they're crazy. But there's nothing we can do about it because their boss is even more crazy. Okay. All right, let's go take a look at, from the Swiss, we'll go to the yen. See what's up with the yen this morning. And there's the yen. Yen popped on Friday, backed off a little bit, was up for the day, and they're doing it again today. It's the third day in a buy. It's starting a third week in a buy. That's not obviously a good thing. That's a sign of inflation in Japan. So they've got to resolve that. That's for sure. What else can we say about the yen? Not much more than that. I think it's some crazy number. Like, and what I mean by crazy, it's like, wow, real surprising. And when we went into the buy back in here in, what is that? That is in March. Towards the end of March, we went into the buy. And it's been in a buy every week, except for 1 week. It fell into the sell right there, just before they broke this market. And then, you think that they're front-running this thing? They seem to. This particular product is front-run more than any other product I've ever seen, which is amazing. The yen is front-run constantly. So the committees and everything know 30 days ahead of time. They get the minutes. They know what the new policy is going to be. And they love to invest in it instead of basically telling the world what they're doing. And then, all of a sudden, they take their profits when the rest of the world finds out. And you can see here, it jumped right back into the buy from that news. And we go into a daily buy. And we've been in a daily buy every day except for that one day here. And then the following day, after it went into the buy, it was a zoom to the moon Alice. They smacked it right up again. All right. From there, we march our way over to... Oh, no. We want to stay there, and we're going to go like this. We'll go over to the Turkish lira, the great experiment. Let's see what they're doing there. I believe they closed in a buy on Friday. Yes, right there, a buy with no dot, so it's definitely a buy. Pure energy. Pure energy. Right there. And it's holding on by, no, look at that. It's minus 0.0094 or ZZ94. And you can see it's been in that weekly buy pretty much since the 34 area, 34 and a half area, I'm sorry. And it's flirted inside this tighter range, which we're real happy about because it helps out the population of Turkey when it does that. You know, if we could get this product to just stay here between the two handles for the next year or year and a half, that would be really nice. It would basically stall out the inflation. You know, we're thinking that it's losing its volatility, the beta. I guess you could say we're losing the beta, and you know, it's turned into a lower beta currency than it was 6, 7, 8, 9 months ago, and it's getting tighter and tighter and falling inside this range. And if it would only stay like that for the next year, that would give a lot of relief to the Turkish population. So that's my take on the whole thing. All right. From there, now we'll address Zuma. There it is, the South African Rand. You see, since the DA and the weakened ANC joined together as a unity government, and the Zulu Nation, their political party, joined in, because that makes it, chances are the Zulus will vote with the DA. They did it when there was pre-Nelson Mandela. The Zulu Nation would vote with the DA all the time and function through them. And so they're more capitalistic and, you know, more freedom and all that other stuff. So so between the 15, I think it's 15%. No, I think they got, I'm not sure now. I forget if it was not 8%, 7%, and the DA got about 23%. So that's 30. And then the ANC has 39. So basically it's almost 70% of the vote in the parliament now. So then what happened was Zuma's party has 15%, and they joined in because they want a seat at the table. Or as Zuma says in Exile, the unholy alliance, he wants to straighten it out. His objective is to, as far as they're concerned, they want to go full communism. That's why they're doing all that murdering thing. All right. So that's the South African Rand. And what's usually what we watch is when the South African Rand is moving down, usually gold is moving up. So let's take a look at gold. It's usually a very good sign of, the gold market and the metals market in general. Now, no doubt, silver danced its way to the sell. Let me put that up on the screen for you. Let's put that up on the screen. There it is. There's gold. 4 days in a buy and has done basically nothing. It's unfortunate it's in a weekly sell. So it's, it may be that haircut that we've talked about in the South African Rand. We believe the South African Rand should be trading around the 12 area, 12 to 13, something like that. Could be high 11s. But unfortunately, with the political turmoil that they've had for the last year and a half to 2 years, it's really put what we call a haircut or a premium into the product. It's about a 33% premium too. It's a very hard thing to bounce back from. Let's see if we can find it again right there. There it is. And so, it's down from the 19s down to the low 18s, and we think that it really should be valued around the 12s. And it's been very hard to use the South African rand as like a guidepost to the metals market since the previous prime minister or president, whatever they call them, had his criminal issues going on. So he wasn't murdering people, though. That's good. But he was definitely doing what the Japanese do, front running the marketplace to the point where they went into his office one day and found over $500,000 in cash sitting on the sofa or underneath one of the cushions or something like that. And so they said, that turned it into a fiasco, and we started seeing that once that happened, we found that it was very hard to measure the action in the South African rand against the metals market. But it got worse as the year and a half went on, because it happened in December, January of 23, going in from 22. So here we are now in the middle of 24, and now he's finally been pushed out of office. And I don't think he was ever indicted. I think it's just they tried to... They asked him to resign, and it didn't seem to work. He didn't care. So... that's probably part of the Zuma breakup. And so, Zuma is trying to have some influence in this parliament, and I doubt he will, just solely because of the DA and the Zulus would basically say no. He went after the Zulus. It was literally a pitched battle. Zuma's organization. Literally, it was gunfights out on the highways and the streets towards Swaziland. He's trying to eliminate them, because if he can eliminate them, then he takes over another 8% of the voting bloc. But anyway, that's the currency. It's less insightful than what it was, and we still watch it because they are the largest gold producer in the world. All right, from there, we're going to march over to the silver, and we'll show you that the silver seems to be reflecting that weakness right there. It was in a daily buy, but we closed in a weekly sell there on Friday. And let's see what it looks like on the beta, too. Where are you on the beta? Right there. And you can see there, it's 2 weeks in a sell. Yep, 2 weeks in a sell. So I went into the weekly sell 2 weeks back. Then this last week is right here where it says the 16th. Oh, you can't see that. Let's see if we can show you that. Right there. There it is from the 16th. So there's been pressure on the metals complex, and which is not normal, because usually when the South African rand is gaining value against the dollar, the metals gain, and they're not. Let me take a sip of water. So pretty much that's what it really comes down to. Is it's the combination of the undervalued. It's an undervalued. It's an overvalued. I guess it's overvalued. Let's see. In other words, it's too expensive. The South African rand is way too expensive, and it should be down much more, and that's why we're seeing confusion in the metals market. Sip of water helped. There we go. All right, and then from there, the industrial metal copper seems to be a reflection of what's going on in China. 4 weeks in a sell. It's been pressing down now, and you can see it jumped into the buy on Friday on a daily, but we're in a weekly sell, so you're not going to take that long. And sure enough, it's pushing again into a sell. There's a lot of issues over there. I don't see any headlines, so that's all right. Every time you see a headline for China, it's like, oh, geez, not again. So there's no good headlines for that country. So no headlines are good headlines for China, because they seem to be totally trapped into this what they've done with all the billions of dollars that they keep on taking in seems to be going to the military and not the industrial side of the country. So they've had three major organizations or corporations go bankrupt, for 50, 60 billion dollars. Where did the money go when all they need to stay in business is, say, 100 million or 50 million, or one was 25 million. So you got to wonder, where is the money? Show me the money. All right, last but not least, we'll take a look at the platinum. Right there. Seems to be trying to turn up a little bit. We're 3 weeks now, starting a third week in the sell. That has been always been the canary in the coal mine. We went into the weekly sell off of the top of this part right there. And there was the close of that week. And sure enough, it was a good drop from there to there. We went up and touched the $1,100 area, and now we are back in the 960, 55, 65 area. I consider it the most dangerous short in the world, because this product used to trade to a premium in gold. And if gold's trading at 2,300 plus, then you sure don't want to be short this product. So whoever's doing that shorting must have more money than the king of Siam. All right. That's the completion of the metals complex. Let's take a peek at the energy complex, and we've already seen what the European Parliament has done for that. Let's see. There's crude oil. It is flirting with a weekly buy. It's been in the daily buy for almost 2 weeks now. What's that? 3 days, 6 days, 8 days. So it's like a week and a half of daily buys. And it's gone from the low 74 area, or mid 74, 75 area, to the 78. It's not exactly exploding. And it's doing obviously the opposite of the energy for the winter. That's what we see with that Spanish company that we show you. And here's the energy contract in the United States of heating oil. This contract is the one that they use fuel for trucks, planes, and energy in the house. In other words, heat or even air conditioning. It powers the pump. It can be gas fired sometimes, and it'll power it in combination with a little electricity. So you can see here, it's been in the daily buy since the $2.37, 38 cent area, and now we've traded as high on Friday to $2.54. So it was a good pop. A little backing off today, which is nice, and it closed in a weekly buy. And let's see if we have it on the beta too. HO right there. Oh, you don't see what I was showing you. There it is right there. And let me just show you the crude oil again real quick. Right there. So they're popping up, and then when we go over to the beta, the beta is there's the heating oil. I'm doing the same thing, and the weekly in there is went into the buy 2 weeks ago, and last week it's trying to go back into the sell. Interesting. So it's giving us some insight there. And then obviously when we go and look at the energy company down in Spain, because of the movement in the European Central or the European Union's Parliament. Let's see, where's it at? Right there. So you see here. Did I miss that? Where did I do it? Oh, there it is, right there. So you can see that pressure that's on it from last week. When they voted that, they anticipated it. That was the interesting thing. So it happened last Sunday, not last night Sunday. and they are anticipating the election to be a success. And then at the same time, all week long, it stayed down there. So the cost of energy in Europe right now for heating your homes and so forth is dropping dramatically. And that's a yay, hooray. All right, from there, we jump back over to natural gas itself. Now, it's been very firm in the United States, starting to show some weakness there. But overall, that could be more because of the success of Mr. Trump, bringing in enormous amounts of money from everybody. 30% of the money coming in are from people who have never, ever donated to politics. Isn't that amazing? So he is wicking up the silent majority, without a doubt. And you can see here, the nat gas is even flirting now with no problem, almost touching the bottom manifold. Oh, you can't see that. Right there. Touching the bottom manifold. So not only has it been in a sell for 3 days, it's now blasting its way into the weekly sell. Maybe it'll come down and challenge the $2.50 area. Because Mr. Trump's motto is drill, baby, drill. Bring out the free energy or the low-cost energy or any energy. Bring it out and let's use it. And that is the magic of that. Now, from there, we've been looking at the energy company in Spain, so I don't have to push on that anymore. But, it's a nice thing to see. There's nothing more to cry or complain about, that's for sure. All right, from there, let's just see what's in the news headlines again. See if there's any story that will pop out that's worth, like something that's happened over the last 45 minutes that we could look at our algorithm at the same time and compare it to it. Let's see. The real story behind the Fed's soft landing narrative. Ooh, that looks good. Cracks are appearing in Goldman's trader warns S&P is no longer telling the story of global markets. Wow, there's two good stories that have jumped out in the last 45 minutes. Let's just show you to them, or show them to you. There it is right there. The real story behind the Fed's soft landing narrative. And the cracks, both of them are trying to tell you. Let's see where the stock market is right now in the United States. Go to the intraday chart. See, it's been dead since last night. They slammed that last night. Let me just show you the very shortest of short terms. Last night, they started off here, they bounced around, and then they made a new high. And then they slammed it back down again, going into this was the beginning of the European trading right here. So they started selling it down. To be exact, that is right there. 2:30 in the morning here in the States is the beginning of European trading. And, in Madrid and, Switzerland and Frankfurt and London and Amsterdam and Milan and all of them, they're all start trading right there. And you can see they took it back up but failed with a lower high, brought it back down again. And this is the S&P 500, and then they came to there. It was like an ABC, and now they tried to drive it back up again but stalled out around in here, and here we are now back at the lows. But it's not the worst. Let's put it that way. In other words, the lows are not anything extreme. It's probably like 0.5%, nothing. It's meaningful at this point. And so that's really reflecting the way the U.S. stock market is starting the day off. I believe on Friday it closed at 5,435. And it's just trading now in the 5,429 to 30 area. So it's not, like I said, it's not explosive. It's not, it's not falling apart. The markets are just being the markets. Ebb and flowing. People taking profits. That's the way it's supposed to work. Wow. All right, and the Dow is down only 100 points, which is 0.26%. Just basically a quarter percentage point. It's not, like I said, it's not really reflecting. Now the DAX is actually up a quarter percentage point. The Nikkei closed down almost 2 percentage points. Gold is down about a little less than 0.5%. We're looking at the S&P 500 down about 0.1%, and the Nasdaq is unchanged basically. And that is that. All right, and then from there, let's go back to the charts and look at the algorithms. And that's what we're talking about right there. This is the European, the European Open right here, and that's how they marched their way down and then there. And so, it's not that, it's not that anything you have to be really concerned about. It's just constant sloppy action. Huh. All right. So from there, where do we go from there? So let's go take a look at like the Nikkei. As I said, the Nikkei was down almost 2%. It was like 1.83. I round these things out because, unless they're down like 3% or 4% or 5%, it's not really worth being too excited about. All right, here is. We got to go to beta. Let's go to the beta platform. Right there. And let's show you the Nikkei. Might be up a little bit higher. Yes, it is. It's up a little bit higher. There we go. Right there. There's the Nikkei. You see the action. That was a little less than 2% drop. See, it's been in a sell for 3 days. And you can see last week it was trying to close into the weekly sell. Obviously, it probably did just because of the way it dropped today. And tomorrow we'll see that on this beta. Or we'll have our new beta up there that actually reflects basically only 15-minute delay, not a day and a half delay on the weekly. So, in other words, late tonight it'll show me. So that's why I say you'll be able to see it tomorrow. All right, and then from there, let's take a look at the Kospi over in South Korea. You see it's really flatlining there, isn't it? And it's climbed back up to the highs of the last couple months and trying to roll over. You can see last night they're trying to push it into a daily sell. And if we make this biggerish like that, let's see if we can figure out, is it in a buy or is it a sell? Well, that's really tight. Look how tight it is. That went into a weekly sell 2 weeks ago back. And then last week it's trying to, what is that? That is -0. So last 2 weeks it's been in a sell, but it's pencil thin, paper thin. Paper thin. There we are. And then from there, we will shoot for, let's see what we're shooting for here. Let's go look at, from Korea, we shoot over to Taiwan, to Taipei index. And there it is right there. You can see 4 days in a buy. This is probably a 5th day right there. And at the same time, you can see it's for all the what they call the saber rattling, or all the little nasties that China's trying to do to them. They don't care. And the new president has said, we're not worried. We can defend ourselves. So that probably pisses off China even more. From there, we'll shoot over to their nemesis. And that is, X is, what is it, right there. This is the Shanghai index. This is the Shanghai index. Why does it not want to change? Let's try it with a mouse on it like that. Maybe it is. Yeah, that's okay. So that's it. No, that can't be it. It's a 3,000 index. So there's Philippines. Why are we not getting that? There's Meta. Okay. Why are we not getting... Is it a holiday over there? Maybe it's a holiday. Oh, there we go. So you can see here down again today. You can see that's the index is almost on the zero line. It's just 1.32, and the weekly is going on a fourth week in a sell at this point. Starting a fifth week as we speak. Starting a fifth week because we're not seeing today's action. This is last week's action. So it's been rolling over. It's fallen from the 31.5 area to the 29.5 area. Wow. Oh, no, I guess it's 30 to the 3,000. So it's gone from the 31, like 75 area right there to now we're down into the almost a 30 area right there. See it right there. It's a 318, something like that. Where's the last? Close was 316.5. So it's dropped 165, 170 points, which is, big move for a 3,000 index. And then we go over to Hong Kong, and that has been outperforming the Shanghai with no problem. But you can see it's still down. It's fallen from the 20,000, the 19. I guess it's like the 19.7 area, down to the 18,000 area, and it's at 1,700 points. So basically it's like the same, I guess you could say. Only difference is it's only been in the sell for 3 full weeks, starting a fourth on today. But it outperformed, made a wonderful move from the 16s to the 20. And the Shanghai only went from 3,000 to 3,150 or 60. So it underperformed the move up. All right. We go from there to the Singapore Straits Times. Where are you, STI? There it is. Not too weak, but it's been backing off for the last week and a half. It just went into the weekly sell about a week ago. Last week it looks like it's settling in that sell again, and from there we'll go over to. Let's just do this. It's run and gun. I'm just going to show you pictures, and then we're out of here because we're already like about a minute off. All right. Where is it at? Let's take a look at all ordinaries. Right there. And there's the weekly. Let's take a look at the Nifty 50. Just had it in my little pause. It's right next to the all ordinaries right there. There's a Nifty 50, still playing with the all-time highs. It's in a daily sell for a few days and in a weekly buy for 2 full weeks. And then from there we shoot over to, let's do this. We're just going to show you the Dow, and you can tune in tomorrow and see the rest because no one seems to be asking any questions, so it doesn't really matter. Where's the Dow at? Up top here. There's the Dow because we're in a second week, I think it is, or a third week in the weekly sell. Yeah, we've done 3 full weeks now in the sell, and so the product is drifted it down into nothing major. But I always like to watch the grand lady of them all. If she's in a sell, you have to start wondering what's going to happen to the rest of them. All right, traders, we're out of here. This is Doc from North America. We'll catch you again tomorrow, same time, same channel. So. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Have a safe and smart trading day.